Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey, and very excited and humbled to introduce our next guest. He's a missionary, speaker, author, nonprofit leader, and founder of Rey Collective, a fantastic apostolate that empowers and encourages individuals and families to live on mission in the ordinary and everyday life of home and neighborhood, and is certainly going to be talking to us all about Blessed Stanley Rother as we get close to his feast day. My goodness, we got Ennie Hickman. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Keith. How you doing?
Blessed. Thank you so much for asking. Now, Ennie, for those that might not be familiar with this individual, could you maybe briefly share who Blessed Stanley Rother was and why his story is so significant?
Yeah, I think his story is very significant in our day and age. Here's an immigrant family, 2 generations, rural life. Back when things were hard, kids had to go to work every morning, do the chores before they went to school. He was raised in a very Catholic family in Okarche, Oklahoma, kind of middle of the nowhere. No offense to those out in Oklahoma and Okarche, but and he surprised his family on his high school graduation day that he was going to become a priest. Everybody was just going to come back and be farmers. He ended up, becoming a priest and a missionary to Guatemala, and then during the Civil War. When everybody, catechists and religious leaders were being martyred for the faith, the bishops actually called all the priests and religious home who were missionaries there. And Stanley famously writes, "A shepherd cannot run in the face of danger." And this was sort of his life, right? He understood what a shepherd was, of course, for being raised in a rural, but he was ready to do the hard thing for his people. And he ended up being martyred in 1981. And when he is canonized, he will be the first American-born martyr, for the faith. So our devotion to him is one we feel, again, like the priesthood, masculinity, so much of our faith in the modern world, modern culture is being, not directly, kind of a soft persecution, if you will. And he's just an incredible model of what it means to be a man, to live the faith really in an ordinary way. It was up until the point in which he gave his life, it was just ordinary stuff. It was relationships, it was farming, it was building. He built a radio station. I don't know if you guys know that, but he built the first Catholic radio station in Guatemala, there in Santiago. For the media, so that people could hear the gospel in their own native language of Tzutzuhil. And he built a school as well as a hospital. So it was sort of ordinary, everyday stuff, and then called to do the extraordinary to give his life for the faith. And so his feast day is coming up July 28th, and we're down here in Guatemala. We did a little pilgrimage, 9 pilgrims. It's a very small village, still very indigenous Maya. It's the Tzutzuhil language they speak there in Santiago, Atitlan. And so we're going to go celebrate and pray with the people that he loved and the people that he gave his life for.
Wow, that is incredible. You're all listening to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm Keith Downey, your host. And we're talking to Ennie Hickman about Blessed Stanley Rother as we get closer to his memorial and feast day, as you said, Ennie, on July 28th. And you just so happen to be in Guatemala, and not by accident. It's not like you're on vacay over there. Clearly, Blessed Stanley has had some sort of impact in your life. You just don't make that trip to Guatemala. So what made you make the trip all the way over there?
Well, we've been doing this. We've actually been going to Santiago since 2001, my wife and I. My wife grew up here as a Protestant missionary, converted to the faith her senior year of high school. And we later met at Franciscan University of Steubenville. We have 9 kids, yada, yada. We are the quintessential kind of Steubenville kids, get married at 22, have a bunch of children. And we felt drawn to missionary life. And really, ultimately just striving to be a saint. I don't know what I'll be the patron saint of, but that's what we're trying to do. We're, live a life of holiness. And we encountered Blessed Stanley, actually, while we lived here in 2017, we took a short sabbatical to study language, Spanish language with our family. And that was the year that he was beatified, that Pope Francis beatified him. So we began to learn about his story. And really, to be honest, Keith, the first time I heard about him, his name is Stanley. And, the thought occurred to me, well, that's kind of an ordinary, it seems like a very ordinary name. And I said to myself, if Stanley can become a saint, I can become a saint, right? And so this idea that, that was our first reaction. Of course, we learned more about his life and the dedication that he had to his people, just locally. He felt called to them to be a shepherd, and to not necessarily be, he doesn't travel and become a Catholic celebrity. He's not giving talk. He is a person who is right there with the people every single day, and so that was really inspiring, as well as the beauty of this country. And I mean that in every sense of the word. Well, oftentimes people think of Guatemala or Central America in general, and their mind immediately goes to, developing world missions, medical missions, things like that. What people often don't know is this has every bit of beauty as Hawaii or Costa Rica or these types of places. So I have a hunch that Blessed Stanley was like, a shepherd can't run, and he wanted to stay with his people, but he was also in one of the most beautiful locations on the planet, which is Lake Atitlan. And so we felt drawn here. It's a great place to slow down. My family, a mantra of my family is wander where the Wi-Fi is weak. So you're lucky you caught me here in Antigua, Guatemala, before we head to the lake, because who knows what the Wi-Fi would be like out there. But yeah, it's a good moment to sort of detox from technology, take in God's creation and beauty, and then pray with the people and the saint there. So this is, we've been leading pilgrimages here since 2018. Yeah, 2018. So again, 9 pilgrims with us this time. And it's just a very restful, prayerful moment. So that's what we keep coming back, for work.
Hey, it's a great way to make a pilgrimage over there. You don't think Guatemala a pilgrimage destination, but it is. You clearly have made it so, and it's beautiful. Now, there has been, I think they're still working on, is it the last miracle of Blessed Stanley?
Yes. So there are a number of miracles being investigated by the Vatican, and so we're just continuing to encourage people to pray. If you have the chance to have a third-class relic or just his intercession, a holy card. I just feel like I'm constantly slinging holy cards, letting people like, hey, you know about this guy? No, okay, well, pray for his intercession if you ever need be. We have a few folks, that are close to us who have cancer and are praying, for his intercession, et cetera. So encourage everybody to do that. Also, a way to get involved with his cause for canonization is to visit the shrine in Oklahoma City. Beautiful new shrine they built there. And this is unique. I guess this would have happened in France with Therese of Lisieux. I think Maria Goretti. There were still family members and people around who knew the saint and could attest. Blessed Stanley Rother, he was martyred in 1981. And providentially, right, the one time he did go home was for the ordination of his cousin, Father Don Wolf. Now, Father Don Wolf is the rector of his cousin's shrine in Oklahoma City now. So he is the pastor of that church. And so it's not only visiting, it's a beautiful, beautiful church. I recommend anybody who just likes architecture to go, church architecture, but go pray with him. You can talk to Father Don and really get the idea of his character and who he was. There's a beautiful museum there to learn more about his life growing up in Oklahoma, and then sort of what life was like in Guatemala during the Civil War. So those are a few ways to get involved. I think, I have this image of Stanley, sort of like up in heaven, just throwing down miracles as best he can. He's just beatified. He's like, oh, I want to do that. So people, pray for his intercession. I say normally that we love Blessed Carlo Acutis, but he's Italian, I love, we have our own guy, and so thank God, Blessed Carlo, Pier Giorgio, they should be canonized within the year. So we're praying for Blessed Stanley and for that last miracle to be approved by the Vatican, so he can be on his way to canonization. It's going to be a party when he is canonized. I promise you, a big Oklahoma throwdown. It's going to be amazing.
I look forward to that. And yeah, Blessed Stanley is a great example of bearing fruits. But I know we have a couple moments left here. Any message you'd like to leave our listeners as for like a takeaway from Blessed Stanley Rother's story?
Yeah, I think he is a great mixture of, the day that he learned that he was on the death list, he began spreading the word, they're not going to take me out of the rectory. For years, he had been helping, families find their loved ones that were tortured by the government, by the guerrillas, just all sorts of mess with the indigenous poor in Guatemala. And he was afraid of being tortured. I mean, clearly, I don't want to be tortured. I don't think anybody wants to be tortured, right? And so he began spreading the word around the village. They're not going to take me out of the rectory. They're going to have to kill me there. If they're going to kill me, they're going to have to kill me there. And I think that shows just the humanity of the saints. We're not just we're not just called to levitate around and I have no fear. We have fear, but it's with God's Spirit and with his grace that we're able to enter into an everyday martyrdom, an everyday ordinary life, doing hard things for the Lord. So that's my big takeaway with Blessed Stanley.
Amen. Thank you so much, Ennie Hickman, for joining us this morning. We can find more information about you, enniehickman.com, and spelled ENNIE Hickman.com. You can also follow him on Instagram at Ennie4. But that's it for Morning Joy. Thanks again, Ennie, for joining us. And of course, there's two things. If you're staying to listen to the Holy Mass, obviously, pray for us. Keep us in your prayers. Keep Ennie in your prayers as well. But then also, we have the After Show Clubhouse coming up right now, which means you get to hang out with us. Just search Morning Joy Radio or GRN Online on YouTube, Facebook. That way you can join us, debrief from the show, talk a lot of things. We got a couple articles we want to talk about. But hey, this is us parting ways. God bless. And of course, make it a joyful weekend. See you Monday.
This has been Morning Joy, where truth matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.